from Nashville, Tennessee. It's the Three. And here's your host, Laura HarrisSmith.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura HarrisSmith. Welcome to The Three. Our guest today is so fascinating. You're going to love his journey through 35 years of broadcasting. He is the host of The Bottom Line. It's not only a radio program, it's a podcast. He is the co-host of James Dobson's Family Talk, anchor for the National News Update on his channel app. There we go, I'll spit it out. And he's just a dear friend of mine. Father of 6, grandfather of 3. We have so much in common. Please welcome Roger Marsh.
Oh, Laura, thank you.
So now who's interviewing who? You
Right.
have been so good to me over the years when my books have come out, and you've invited me on The Bottom Line. And the time passes so fast. We start having a conversation, and that is what it feels like, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely conversation. And I love that. When I got into broadcasting, that was my prayer, is that I would have the opportunity to have conversations with people, just to have dialogue, because in all honesty, when I was growing up, I was kind of introverted and shy, and I didn't think my life was terribly interesting. So I thought, if I bring people onto the program who are not introverted, but outgoing like yourself, then it'll make interesting watching, because I want to listen to it and I want to hear your stories. So I have a platform now to be able to give people a chance to tell their stories, and I love it.
Well, today we're going to hear yours. So, but before we do that, tell us all about The Bottom Line, because primarily that's probably where people are going to know you from. We'll get into James Dobson in a moment, but tell us about The Bottom Line.
The Bottom Line was born in September of 2011, and this is a fun story for me, because growing up in Southern California, Christian broadcasting didn't really have a lot of live interactive talk, and a guy by the name of Rich Bueller, who was a pastor but also a broadcaster, started a program with the Crawford family in the 80s, and Talk from the Heart was on for 20 years. It was legendary, and then Rich was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and we weren't sure if he was going to be able to continue with the broadcast, so a group of us were brought in to kind of fill in. I was asked to tag along with my friend Jim Burns, who was filling in for one of the shows, and one thing led to another. I happened to be available one day when they needed a fill-in host, and I mean, not to Cinderella the story too much, but on September 19th, 2011, the program was born. And the reason we call it The Bottom Line is we're just trying to get to the bottom line of the issues that are important to the church. There's so much confusion, there's so much dust in the air, and we're trying to just get to what is the most important thing for us as believers to know about war and the economy.
So it's current events, it's whatever's going on.
Whatever's going on through the lens of Scripture, through a biblical worldview. And it's amazing how much ground you get to cover. We get to talk about spiritual issues, we get to talk about emotional issues. I mean, there are all sorts of things. There's really nothing off limits, and it's just, I'm a kid in a candy store. It really is a lot of fun.
It cracks me up, though, that you say you were introverted and you wanted to invite people on so that the show would be interesting, because I think you're interesting. So,
kind of you to say.
So then tell me this. Of all of the events that because I am not, last interview we had, we talked about sleep, right? Yeah. So, and my book, Give It to God and Go to Bed. So, of all of the topics that you could cover and that you do cover, what's your wheelhouse? What do you get most jazzed about when you have a guest to talk
anything
about?
That brings clarity to an issue, where there might be confusion. I love, one of the things we talk about in The Bottom Line is the ABCs, analysis, balance, and clarity, where we look at the worldview, look at the issues, what are the stats, what are the statistics. Then we look at the balance. We try to get more than one opinion, because, as you know, we're in a world right now that's very siloed, it's very tribal.
Yep.
And if you're a Fox News watcher, then you really need to look at CNN every now and again, just to see what the other side's saying. And as Christians, we need to see what the world's doing, too, because oftentimes we'll shake our fist at sin and evil, but we won't really know why people are drawn to it. And then once you get clarity, okay, what's really important? What's the real issue here? It's like with your book on sleep and dreams. The fact that some people might have a hard time falling asleep and they don't know why, so they're taking sleeping medication or this, that, and the other thing. And so we want to get to the core of that. Then the D in the phrase is discernment. Then how do you apply everything that you've learned and everything God's shown you? And so that's a long way around the barn
Yeah.
to give
No,
you the
I love
answer
it.
of what really energizes me is finding an issue that might have a nuance, might be something that people are confused about,
Right.
and bringing in experts and doing analysis and finding balance and clarity to find out, okay, what's the real issue here? Because at the end of the day, eyes on me, Jesus says,
Yeah.
right? And we
Yeah.
want to keep our eyes there instead of chasing after some kind of propaganda or rhetoric that doesn't really have any eternal value.
Absolutely. Okay, tell someone who's watching right now where they can find you, where they can find the bottom line.
Okay, first place you can start is thebottomlineshow.com is our show website, and that's the site where we've got all the archive programs. That's where you can find all the interviews with Laura. They're the best ones. We put them at the top. They're all pinned up there, by the way.
I'll slip you that 20 later.
Yeah. Also, the app My Hope Now, which is a Crawford Broadcasting app that has the Bottom Line Show and the National Crawford Roundtable podcast, which I co-host. And then you can find it at rogermarsh.com. That's my own personal website where everything is all linked. We just created the website as a way to kind of catch,
That's
as,
good.
as my wife calls it, all the streams of everything that keep coming in. My son teased me one day. He said, "Dad, do you still have 7 jobs or is it down to 6?" And I said, "There's streams, Jake. There's streams." That's what it is.
Streams. They all flow to one river.
It's where it does, and that's where God has called me, and I'm so blessed to be able to still be doing this.
That's amazing. Okay, when we come back from the break, I want to talk just a little bit about family talk, because the family is under siege right now, the American family, so I'm glad you've got a voice out there. Stay close. We'll be right back after the break. Hi, I'm Laura HarrisSmith, inventor of Quiet Brain Essential Oil Blend. You know, if you would have told me 2 years ago when I was mixing that very first little bottle that we would have thousands of customers from all over the world and that we'd have to quadruple our staff to keep up with the demand produced by our international TV infomercial, I'm not sure I would have believed you. And if you told me I'd be hearing regular testimonies of improved sleep, reduced stress, migraine relief, even help with other neurological challenges like seizures, PTSD, tremors, muscle spasms, even anxiety, well, I probably would have cried. And sometimes when I'm reading a Quiet Brain testimony, I do. But if you would have told me 1 year ago when we introduced our Quiet Brain Variety Gift Box that it would become the biggest selling item on our online store at quietbrainoil.com, I would have said, I believe it. The reason is because I created the gift box to be the perfect combination of all of our Quiet Brain products. The oil itself for topical use on the skin that contains only certified pure oils that can cross the blood-brain barrier and bring speedy relief and neurological support. And our aromatherapy line with our Quiet Brain shampoo and conditioner, candles, inhalers, all of which use the nasal passages to gain direct access to the limbic brain, which is the emotional center of the brain. So whether you need to use Quiet Brain topically or aromatherapeutically, the Quiet Brain gift box has everything that you need. And now we've given our gift box an upgrade without increasing the price. It now comes with our satin Quiet Brain Sleep Eye Mask. Just put a few drops of oil on the nose guard and you're on your way to enjoying a good night's sleep. And it all comes packaged in a beautiful gift box and delivered to the destination of your choice or sent to you so you can use it for 7 different gifts or keep a few for yourself. When sold separately, the items in the box are $160, but you're getting it for $135. That's a $25 savings, meaning that you're getting the nasal inhaler and the shampoo and conditioner for free. The Quiet Brain gift box comes with 1 Whisper Quiet Nightlight diffuser with 16 color options and intermittent mist options, 1 dropper bottle of Quiet Brain, 1 Quiet Brain nasal inhaler, 1 Quiet Brain candle, the satin sleep eye mask, and your healing shampoo and conditioner. And remember, both are color safe, aloe enriched, paraben and sulfate free, loaded with wonderful ingredients like unscented coconut oil, olive oil, sugar beet betaine, and of course the Quiet Brain blend with its 8 essential oils like lavender, frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and more. We get repeated testimonies of both being used with great effectiveness during headaches for pain relief. So go to quietbrainoil.com to order. Quiet Brain is a great gift for any time of the year, but especially for seasons like these that bring additional stress. Give the gift of health and peace this year. Give the gift of Quiet Brain. Hey guys, welcome back to The Three. I'm Laura HarrisSmith. We're talking to Roger Marsh, and you've heard him on The Bottom Line, his radio show and broadcast as a podcast, I should say. But he does so many other things. And before we get into talking about you co-hosting with Dr. James Dobson, I want to talk about the His Channel app. Tell us what that is and what you do there.
This is a new venture for me after 30 plus years on the radio side to get in front of the camera
Yes,
like you do all
yes.
the time. HisChannel.com is a website that carries a lot of prophetic teaching, Bible prophecy, and news of the world as well. And a few years ago they had a news program on, but the political climate was so polarizing they couldn't really get a fair shake.
Yeah.
So they decided to scrap it. They started and just launched it up again this year. And I'm the national news anchor. So for 15 minutes, which is forever,
It is forever.
in television. When you're in radio and you have a chance to improvise a little bit,
That's
TV, and we
interesting.
don't do teleprompters. It's just,
Okay.
we come up with our own stories. I've got my computer. And Tuesdays and Thursdays right now, and we're hoping to go to 4 days a week soon. 15-minute broadcast of the national news that we believe is beneficial to the body of Christ. And as you and I both know,
Yeah.
the mainstream media is going with whatever trends, what's the old idiom, if it bleeds, it leads.
Wow.
And that they want.
It's sad, but it's
well,
true.
I don't know if I can use this term on your program here, but I'll use it anyway.
Okay.
We can edit it later. When Jeff Zucker was escorted from the building at CNN, someone said, "Well, there goes the king of panic porn."
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's doom scrolling.
I've heard
it's
it
this
fear
whole,
porn
yeah,
or
fear porn, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The media would love for you to be so afraid that you have to watch them all the time. And one of the things we do with His Channel broadcast is we don't want you to be afraid. We want you to take a look honestly at what's happening, what
Yeah.
the stories are,
I
but
love
also
that.
to say, but there's hope. And invariably the news anchor will throw in a gospel appeal at some point as well, because why not?
Yeah, that
Captive
is amazing.
audience.
So then, tell us exactly where to find that. You mentioned that before, but do
Yeah,
it again.
hischannel.com. You can download the app there. It's available if you have Apple TV, Roku, Fire Stick. You can find it there. It's purely app-based, and they have proprietary technology, so they don't have to worry about Amazon hearing something that they don't like and pulling all their servers.
Yes,
like has
Amazon
happened
pulling
before.
servers. Oh,
yeah,
my goodness.
No, but don't have time for that.
Ooh, yeah, don't get me started there. It's been quite a ride. But your career, I mean, it's transcended radio, broadcasting, online. You're an author. So tell
Yes.
us about the book. Like, there's nothing you don't do.
Internet Protect Your Kids was published a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Internet Protect Your Kids.
It's still available on Amazon if you can find the 1 or 2 copies that my mom hasn't purchased. It was written at a time when MySpace was first coming into
Okay.
the world, and youth ministry was very concerned about it.
Yep.
And I was
remember.
working for a ministry that had a couple of guys actually who were related to the ministry who were working at MySpace, and they said, you guys really should write about how addictive this is.
Yeah.
And so one thing led to another, and I went from being hired to be a ghostwriter for one chapter to being co-author of the book. You know how the publishing world can work.
Yes, I do.
And
I do.
It was a great experience to find out, how to put together organized thoughts in 52,000 words that make sense. And the amount of internet information and how quickly it doubles. Information news of the world in the 1940s, it would change over every generation.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the time the book came out, it was every 17 months, and now it's like every 17 minutes.
Oh, the cycle is crazy.
It's scary how quickly. And the spread of misinformation, it's not just limited to the Republican Party, quote unquote.
Right.
It's everywhere. And it moves so quickly, and it makes it so tough for us as parents and grandparents to keep up with the news cycle. When we were coming up, what would our parents
Yeah.
do? They knew everything about us.
Yeah.
They could get 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of
Yeah.
us and shut that down. Nowadays, there's no way parents can keep up.
And it was a 3-network world too.
The lengths we have to go to keep our kids safe.
And you have 6 kids, so you have
Yes.
a blended family.
Lisa and I have a blended family.
But
yes.
you have 6 kids and then 3. Did we
What?
say 3 grandkids?
3.5. Our daughter Taylor just announced that she's maybe 3 1/4 right
Okay.
now.
Oh,
That
wow.
our daughter Taylor's expecting somewhere around my birthday, and I told her she can't have my birthday.
That
No.
would steal your limelight.
Well, no, I'm talking about the baby. I want the baby to have her own day.
Oh,
That's it. I mean, I'm not proprietary. My sister and I are a day apart, and we're actually 730 days apart. My parents wanted a boy and a girl 2 years apart, and if it weren't for a leap year,
And they
we
got
would-
it.
They got
Oh,
it.
my goodness.
Almost to the minute.
That is hilarious.
So my brother he knows that he wasn't planned. My younger brother.
Well, God planned it. We say it
Well,
that
God
way.
planned it, but my parents didn't. Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh my
All
goodness.
right.
Well, speaking of family, tell us what it's like to work with James Dobson.
Oh my goodness! Well, you talk about a dream come true.
Yeah.
Dr. Dobson has been such a mentor to me through audio and video productions. When I was first in radio, one of my jobs at a Christian music station was we also played his other ministry program.
Wow.
And they, I thought, I get paid to play James Dobson.
Yeah.
When my mom was a public school teacher in the early 1980s, they brought the Focus on the Family film series to their school. I mean, it shows you how far America's
Wow.
changed. And the library was packed. Parents were there watching it. And so to have that influence and to get to know him and get to know his son Ryan. And then about 6-7 years ago, received a call from his executive producer and said, hey, the guy who's been doing the announcing for the show is moving away from the area, and we're looking for a new sound. Would you like to come to Colorado Springs and meet with Dr. Dobson, spend an hour in the studio with him, and do some recording? And so I did. I still have the napkin and the placemat from the restaurant where we went to lunch. Where Dr. Dobson wrote out all the notes and everything because he wanted me to interview him a certain way. And we did a couple of programs, and they called me back the next week and asked me, would you like to move to Colorado Springs? And I had the bottom line at the time, and I couldn't give it up. So I said, I can't move. I really feel compelled to stay in California, but I can still work for you from the studio. And so that started a relationship that continues to this day.
And where can they find that?
Oh, drjamesdobson.org is where you find the information on Family Talk. There's a Family Talk app as well. 1,400 radio stations still. I mean, the man is in his 80s and he's still all fired up. It's an election year and he's ready to go, you know. But that's the beauty of working with a guy like Dr. Dobson is he is so passionate about families. He's so passionate about family values. A lot of people think he's passionate about politics, but he's really, politics is a means to an end. It's all about families.
It is. It's all about families. Well, then, on that note, when we come back from the break, I want to talk about your family. You have a really unique family, and I didn't really understand how unique until you and I connected a couple of days ago and you told me. That's why you're sitting here. So I really believe we're going to bless some families, and we're going to be talking in the next segment about something that it may be close to your heart if you are from a blended family or you're about to be a part of a blended family, and even if you're part of a biracial family. Come right back after the break.
Neuromatics Oil is a family of therapeutic-grade patented oil blends created by nutritionist and author Laura HarrisSmith. Invented for her own lifelong journey for neurological health, Quiet Brain now helps those worldwide who suffer from insomnia, migraines, anxiety, seizures, tremors, and more. Quiet Brain contains oils like frankincense, myrrh, lavender, sandalwood, and others. Next, Happy Brain is a bright mood-lifting citrus blend and contains oils like lemon, lime, clementine, spearmint, and more. Users say it combats depression and even aids in weight loss. Next is Sharp Brain, Laura's Focus Blend, also used to improve cognitive memory issues with oils like coffee, cinnamon, vanilla, clove, and others. Each $69.95 bottle is a 10-week supply if used daily, or about $1 a day. And right now, buy 2 bottles and get the third one free, and get a free eye mask using the promo code on your screen at neuromaticsoil.com or at 1-855-784-3827. That's 1-855-QUIET-BRAIN.
I'm naturopathic Dr. Laura HarrisSmith, and if you'll give me 10 days, Give It to God and Go to Bed can help you stress less, sleep better, and dream more. There are even links inside to my free 10 Days to Deeper Sleep and Dreams program and 10 Goodnight videos. Can you close your eyes and just still listen to me? The whole book takes place in your bedroom, and with chapter titles like The Junk Under Your Bed, The Treasures in Your Bedroom, and The Monsters in Your Closet. Give It to God and Go to Bed helps you learn to rest and hear God speak in dreams. Take back your sleep and dreams, my friend, with Give It to God and Go to Bed. Hey everybody, welcome back from the break. I'm Laura, you're watching The Three. We're here with Roger Marsh. He's my friend, but you've heard him, oh my goodness, on television, on radio, podcasts. He's an author. There's really nothing that you don't do. I don't know when you sleep or if you sleep. I have a great book in case you can't sleep.
I know, that's why we got to,
That's why I know, and he was so good, he actually just had me on his show, The Bottom Line. You know, I've really gotten to know a little bit about your family. You have such a unique family, and I want us to talk for just a moment, not just about blended families. Oh my goodness, y'all have just been in the pressure cooker. So you're not only a blended family, but your wife is black, you are white, you both bring 3 kids into the marriage, and you do that at a time when racial tension is at its all-time highest. And I'm going to count even back. I know we've been through the Civil War. I know we've been through civil rights. But what's different about then and now, in my opinion, is that we were making so much headway, and now we have gone back and fueled a fire that I feel like God had almost stamped out, not in the minds. I know that racism still exists.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. But I want to hear from you and you're always the one doing the interviewing, but I actually asked you a question 2 days ago, and I loved your answer. I just merely asked you, I told you about some of the biracial couples that I knew, and how I had noticed, interestingly enough, that the friend of mine, the white member of the family, would come and say to me, I never knew as a white person how bad racism was until I married. And I saw how bad racism is against blacks. Well, it works both ways, you know? And so you can be black and marry into a family that's racist and white, or you can be white and marry into racism, and blacks don't want me. So what I loved about your story was that you guys are very, very balanced. You're very real, and you're very real with your kids. So before we start talking about them, tell me about your beautiful wife.
Oh my goodness.
Because your eyes light up every time you talk about her.
I love her. I love her with a passion, and I did not know this kind of love was possible. Both of us, it's not our first marriage. And when we met, it was amazing how quickly, I'll tell you a little story about it. When we met online, one of our first dates was to a place in Southern California. It's in Orange. And we were having dinner, and it's near a place, legendary, called the Circle or the Plaza.
Okay.
And you've seen it in a lot of movies. And as a matter of fact, in the movie That Thing You Do, Tom Hanks.
I love The Thing You Do.
He used that part. That's Erie, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
They went through and they refurbished all the signs and everything, all the stuff. I've been in that Army Navy store. I've been in that appliance store as a kid.
We love that
know
movie.
that whole area, right? Well, I love that movie. And so we were doing the whole, what are your favorite TV shows?
Okay.
What's your favorite color type of thing? And so I asked her, what are some of your favorite movies? And she said, two of my favorites are Braveheart and That Thing You Do. And I said, those are two of my all-time favorites too. And we both kind of went, huh? You know.
Yeah.
And so then I said, do you realize where we are right now? And she said, where? I said, we're near Watson's Drug and That Thing You Do. And so it was perfect timing.
Yes,
God's so
yes.
wonderful. We walked across the street. We went to Watson's Drugs. We got a couple of treats for her daughters who were at home. And she was beaming. And I was beaming. You know, we loved that. But there's a commonality that we have. A lot of the hurts that we experienced in previous marriage, they're similar. And we speak that language. We understand it. So when there were conversations with the exes, then invariably happen because you have kids together.
Sure.
And one of our daughters has different needs. And so there's a constant, conversation with her dad and her mom. We had to navigate those things, but it sounded like a language that was very familiar to each of us. And so it gave us a deeper level of understanding that made us bond a lot quicker.
Have you had to win over some of her family members, and has she had to win over some of yours?
Well, I'll tell you what.
You know what I mean by that? Win over. I'm sure there's no
absolutely.
Animosity, but what has been the biggest hurdle? I'll ask it like that.
Okay, biggest hurdle. That's a tough one because, in all honesty, our parents get along very well. My mom loves her. As a matter of fact, she'll say, "I was texting Mom today. I'm her favorite." And she means that. She really does. But my mom just absolutely adores her. I have a sister who has Asperger's syndrome, and Linda is a not terribly photogenic person, and she knows it because of the Aspie tendency. Linda takes the best pictures when she and Lisa are arm in arm or with their arms around each other. They just love each other as sisters. And so to answer the question, there really, other than the kids kind of going, wait, what do you mean you're getting married again? There really hasn't been a whole...
So that was the main thing. Okay.
Hasn't been a big win-over
And your
thing.
children, how have they integrated?
Well, they're all out of the house, basically.
Well,
so I mean,
okay.
in terms of interactions when they're with each other,
Yes.
it's fine. There's no animosity
That's
there.
beautiful.
They really do accept each other. Well, and in the case of my kids, my younger daughter Kaylee, her husband's Filipino, and so she had to be the blonde girl for 3 years when they were dating from high school. They're 31 now, and they've known each other since they were 15. But she's picking up Tagalog, and she loves that kind of food, and boba and all that stuff, which I just don't like. But I love Kevin. He's a great guy. I mean, he really does. So they grew up kind of multiculturally when they were going to school. So the idea of Dad being in this kind of relationship wasn't foreign to them, and it wasn't a new experiment for Lisa either. It's a heart connection. It's a spiritual connection.
Right.
The only real differences we've had to work on were she grew up in a Baptist church, and I was a Lutheran pastor. Other than that, I mean, like-minded, like-spirited. And she is gorgeous.
So she is gorgeous.
Yes.
I've seen pictures. We're Instagram friends.
She is gorgeous.
So you don't have to get into details. But I know that you have 2 sons. You probably have more than that, but I'm talking about the 2. And We only have just a minute left, but can you just explain, you said they both found themselves in similar situations where authorities over them had to make decisions concerning them, and you said that your white son was treated differently than your black son.
Yeah. And that's that. You were talking earlier about the realities of, you know, a white person marrying into a black family, so to speak, and saying, "Oh my goodness, I didn't realize. I never thought."
Right.
And sometimes the people in our background, you know, kind of get a bum rap because it's like, "Well, why didn't you know?"
Yes.
But if you're not around it and you don't live it, you really
just don't know.
And so, you know, Lisa went to a school that was fully integrated, and I didn't. So in terms of, you know, the kids you hung out with, it was different. But as I'm getting to, you know my bonus kids, and I love Kevin, he's a great guy. Kevin G is my bonus son, and Kevin Z is my son-in-law. Kevin's had, you know, he's had some challenges that I know Jake will never face.
Okay.
And that Jake hasn't faced. And they could have similar experiences. And I think in some cases, I don't know everything about Kevin's, you know, backstory, and I know Jake's backstory. But I know the worlds that they live in.
Yeah.
And I know what the challenges that they have to face. And it's incumbent upon me as my bonus son's papa, big daddy, whatever he wants to call me. And he calls me all sorts of stuff, big guy, you know, things like that, to understand that world better, you know, and to really walk alongside him in that world and be able to say, okay, I want to understand this better. I want to know what it's like for you, because, you know, he is facing frustrations that a lot of young African American guys do.
Right.
And I think we really owe them the listening ear. We really owe them the opportunity to be able to let their voices be heard.
Yeah.
And I know that my son Jake doesn't have those same challenges. And it doesn't mean I love either one of them any less, but it means it's incumbent upon me to take the initiative and say I want to be there for them.
You know, Roger, I think our country is where your family is. It's like a prototype. I believe that we do see each other, the beauty in each other's cultures. I really do not believe we are an inherently racist nation, but I do believe, like you just said, there's room for growth.
Yes.
There's room there for us to understand each other a little better.
Absolutely.
We've all used the phrase, I'm colorblind. I'm not colorblind. I see, they're all individual, distinct colors, and God made every single one of them, but we can love all of them. And so I just wanted to hear from you. You really have a foot in both worlds, and I've loved watching you just discover, and that's, you know, the wedding pictures and everything. It was just so beautiful. I really wish your family all the best.
Thank you.
Because as I said, I think you will be trendsetters in the sense of you have a voice. God's given you a voice. You are, I mean, James Dobson on the Family Talk Show, and he has given you, and I believe will continue to give you, the ability to speak peace over the racial tension in our nation. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
And
much.
I don't know when the last time anybody interviewed you was, but I have a feeling it doesn't happen very often.
At all.
At all? Is this your first?
Yeah.
Oh, what? 35 years in broadcasting, and I get the first Roger Marsh interview. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Laura HarrisSmith. We'll see you next week on The Three.